on the first day of the week, early in the morning on the first day of the week, when it was yet dark, came Mary Magdalene to the sepulchre of Jesus. Came Mary Magdalene to the tomb and found it standing open. She found it standing open. And the crucified body of her Lord was gone. I learned that little song years ago when I had a children's choir. And we sang it every Easter morning. And like so many children's songs, the truth that they carry lives with us, no matter how old we get. The crucified body of their Lord and Savior was gone. And as we just heard in the Gospel of Mark, for the women who came to the tomb and saw the empty grave and heard the words saying, "Don't be alarmed. It's okay. Jesus isn't here. He's risen. He's going out there ahead of you. He's going to meet you wherever you go." And the text for today ends. And the women fled the tomb, for terror and amazement had seized them. And they said nothing to anyone. So how did we get to hear the story? If they actually said nothing to anyone, how can we sit here 2,000 years later and say, Jesus Christ is risen? Before we really push that question a little further, let's stop for a minute at their terror, at their fearfulness that the body was gone, and we can at least stop and ask the question, why did the empty tomb make them afraid? I don't know, really on Easter Sunday mornings I like to walk through graveyards. I like to walk among the tombs and the markers, and I like to ask myself the question, really? What if I came to a tomb? What if I came to a grave that was open and empty? I think I'd be like these women at the tomb. I would be very afraid. Either someone stole the body, or something so incredibly mysterious that is so far beyond my frail ability to understand. Maybe someone here too has been, by the power of God, raised. And I think I would go home, and I don't think I'd tell you about it, because I think you would think I was crazy. And I think you would call up your neighbors and say, you know, she's over the edge. She's gone. I don't know what they were afraid of. I don't know if they were afraid that people would think they were crazy. There are other things they might have been afraid of. They might have been afraid, along with the other disciples, because we remember the end of the story on Good Friday when Jesus is on the cross, and one by one, everybody leaves. We remember the story of Peter, who 3 times said, I don't know Jesus. So if I'm Peter, and someone says that Jesus has been raised, I'm not so sure what my encounter with Jesus is going to be the next time I see him. What else might we be afraid of? If and when we say that Jesus is risen and here among us and out there in front of us. I had a teacher who said, according to the ending of Mark, Jesus is on the loose. Because the words simply say Jesus is out there. He's going ahead of you. Wherever you go, he'll need you. But he's out there someplace. And he is there for you. So, when we think about why the women were afraid, and why they didn't say anything, we aren't living in the moment that they lived in. We're living 2,000 years later, and we have, along with the Gospel of Mark, that says they didn't say anything to anyone. We have the Gospel of John. We're not going to read that text this morning, but John's account of the resurrection ends differently. After the women had come, and Peter and the disciple that Jesus loved had been there, Mary stands in the garden, and she thinks it's the gardener standing beside her, and it's Jesus. And Mary says to the gardener, supposed gardener, if you have taken him away, will you please show me where he is, so that I can take care of his body? And Jesus, who Mary thinks is the gardener, simply says, Mary. And she knows. This is John's account. And after Mary has met Jesus, according to John's account, Mary goes to the disciples. And she says, I have seen the Lord. For me, this Easter and every Easter, as we gather together, we are not all in the same places of believing. Some of us wonder why Jesus isn't doing something about all that mess in our lives. Grace Larson wouldn't mind if I tell you she needs your prayers so desperately. And as I sat at communion with her yesterday, she says, so what is prayer all about, Marla? Why is God not doing something? So as we gather this day, we know that's what comes with us. And so we find ourselves, some of us, on that end, with the ending of Mark, not knowing what to say about this resurrection story. So we gather from this end to this end, where Mary says, according to John, I have seen the Lord. I know it's true. And we come together today, from here to here, because resurrection is personal, and resurrection is individual. So when I'm here and I don't know how it can be that God is still at work, then I need those who are here to say to me, I've seen the Lord. I've seen what God does. And when I'm here, and things in my life assure me that Jesus is out here meeting me, then it's my call to speak gently and inviting to the ones who are wondering, I wonder where God is. I wonder what God is doing. So my message today is for all of us. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to find your place inside of the story of the resurrection. If you're in this place where you're wondering, really, We're here in the place where Jesus has made Jesus very apparent to you in your life. Then you, in your quiet and gentle ways, will walk alongside of Grace and anyone else who needs that assurance. For me, this is the place where we meet Jesus. And this is the place where Jesus accepts us exactly where we are. And when we say, thank you for coming today, we mean it to every single person who is here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming with your ways of witnessing that Jesus Christ is alive, that Jesus is alive, and Jesus is going to meet us. And you know what? Maybe one thing else we should be sure to know. Jesus is going to surprise us. We can't put God or Jesus in our little box of expectations and say, this is what Jesus is going to do. Because I don't know about you, but I know for me, Jesus has been surprising me for many, many years in those places of wonder. Most often in quiet ways, Jesus comes and says, indeed, God has raised Jesus Christ from the dead. And because Jesus has been raised, we too will one day know this Jesus in ways we've never known before. Jesus Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. You can't sing yet because I forgot something. I need those children to come back because I was so busy praying that I forgot what I wanted to give you. All right? Easter bunnies are okay, but the front part is a butterfly to help you remember that butterflies are a sign of the resurrection. And my rule about the bunnies, well, it's never nice to eat bunnies, but this bunny you can't eat after what? After worship. So thank you for coming up. I'm sorry I forgot. I had to come up twice. I don't know if everyone that was up here. I'm going to put these at the back in case someone didn't come up twice and you can take them. Would you be willing to hold them or put them in your chair when you sit? Thank you. Let's stand as we sing.